from the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains. Through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorables,
you human
on the point of order.
Honorables, they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Yet another time for Sports Extraordinary Weekend Edition here on Atlantic Television Network. On this edition of program, Team Nigeria finished second at the African Games and coming in from the world of marathons. So we are saying that the British runner creates history at the game. And in football, England saw first defeat since the Qatar World Cup. Details of this and many more will be yours this weekend as you stay with us.
from the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news.
Welcome back. Sports Extraordinary Weekend Edition here on Atlantic Television Network. This weekend, I have with me, do I say, long time, Epo, I haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah, truly, and I've really missed, the show, and so glad to be here this evening.
Well, we'll get started, and of course, the African Games has come and gone after 14 days of breathtaking action. We've seen the 13th edition of the African Games come to an end in Accra, Ghana. It was a spectacle of closing ceremony at the Accra Sports Stadium.
Truly a spectacle. I mean, 14 days, 2 days opening and closing ceremony was magnificent, and I think that when you talk about the 13th edition, a lot of people are beginning to understand what the African Games is. It reignites the feeling of unity, the feelings of unity. It brings about a whole lot about the Afrocentric, nature of our continent, and it also reminds those who maybe have forgotten the beauty of the African Games before now that yes, gradually, especially when the name Nigeria is on the map. So I think that if we put everything, especially the glamour we saw yesterday at the closing ceremony, it really lived up to his expectation. And so for me, summarily, I think that it was eye-catchy and worthwhile.
Talking about the host nation, Ghana, do you think they have delivered on the facilities, on the ambience, the environment? You want to say the atmosphere around from the opening ceremony up till yesterday when we saw that spectacle of closing ceremony?
Yeah, I think the Ghanaian initially had challenges of logistics, in the opening ceremony. I speak with a Ghanaian friend, Bamboa, and who expressed a lot of concern. He's journalists. In fact, there is a strong discrimination. Things are not properly organized in the first 2 days of this competition. And another person felt that, oh, if this is going to be like this, I'm not sure we're going to enjoy this jollof, all African games. But as the day went on, we saw changes, and when the games started proper, we saw a lot of attention was drifted from behind the scene issues now to the track and the field events, and it was glamour, it was exciting, and I think that yes, it truly has lived up to his expectation and needs billing. A lot of challenges here and there, but I think that Ghana did so well. In fact, you need to see the stadium filled to its brim. They used in fact, it was hosted in 3 cities: Kumasi, Accra, and then we'll talk about the other one. But if you put these 3 cities together and look at the facilities that we have, in terms of facilities, you want to say that 70%, and 70% is A. They may not have gotten it 100 over 100, but it shows that Ghana can do this. They've done it before, and gladly, I saw that they are really prepared for it. It's worth the while from 2023 to 2024. Yes, it's still 2023 All-African Games, and you want to say that Ghana did a spectacle of hosting this event.
Spectacular event, I must say, took place in Ghana in the last 14 days. And after 14 days of hostilities amongst countries that took part in the competition, Egypt emerged as overall winners. Egypt not just emerging as overall winners, but set record of having the most medal in the history of the games that have lasted 59 years. Yes, talking about medals, and Egypt, who came first on the medals table in Accra, Ghana. Ghana as many as 189 medals, 101 of them in the gold color, 46 silver, and 42 bronze medal. No country in the 59 years history of the African Games has garnered as many as 100 gold medal. But Egypt surpassed it by not just meeting the 100, but 101.
At this point, Mr. Syria, I think that you just look at Egypt and look at their sport policy, and you think that there is a generational improvement in what they did. In 1965, when this game was hosted for the first time in the continent of Africa, you agree with me that Egypt won that particular one. That was at the maiden edition. And from then, yes, we've seen a lot of winners, emerge, but the Egyptians, they've gone, in fact, in recent years, we've seen them, become the China of Africa. They've not only dominated in the area of football, but they've also shown that when it comes to policy, sport policy, they have it fine-tuned. And I think that they are doing something that a lot of people will need to look at them and say, okay, this is what we shall, they are role model in sports. And for me, it doesn't get better. In some of the events, we saw how they racked medals, and that's a good thing. They had comparative advantage in a lot of the sporting disciplines, that was part of this particular one. So I think that the Egyptians, yes, they've done so well, created history for themselves, truly deserving of them. And I mean, it's worthwhile. It's getting to see 101 gold medal. It doesn't come cheap at all. If you look at it, in fact, it surpasses some medals from other teams. And it was even Nigeria who even tried to push them to the extreme. They have, in fact, they have the gold medals of almost all the teams. So I think that the Egyptians have really done very well, and kudos to those who continues to run the affairs of sports in the country.
Well, it is kudos to those who run the affairs of sports in Egypt, and they have shown clearly that, yes, they are very methodical and they've planned a lot, and the result has shown at the African Games, the 13th edition that took place in Ghana. I'm very sure as we speak, they should have returned back home to Cairo to a very jubilant welcome out there. Still looking at the medals table, Nigeria perennial second place winners. They always come second after some time. In fact, in the recent past, Nigeria has always come second at the African Games. They came second with a total of 120 medals. 120, 47 of the medals are in gold color, while 33 is in silver color. We saw 40 in bronze color. Nigeria, how will you rate their performances at the 13 African Games?
I think that's when it comes to, before now, I mean, if you look at the medals overall, Nigeria is always the best when it comes to African Games, because they had a very strong medal. Same thing when compared to the Commonwealth Games. Nigeria have really done very well, but at this level, Nigeria have shown that when it comes to medal, except for Egypt now, who continues to dominate. But I think that when we started with good hopes. And we already know that we knew that the Egyptians would be a tough, team to crack. So we're not even going in for their glory. We knew that what we need to do is also dominate in the area of competitive advantage, or competitive advantage, and we held strongly to those areas. So the thing is, because we know that gold is what places you on the rankings, we had to go for gold. South Africa did so well also, but it looks like our team showed, dominance in key areas like wrestling, weightlifting, athletics, and it was glaring. So I think that, yes, we look at the gold medal we won, I think we can surpass that. But you ask yourself, how many of these competitions that we went for, and that's the thing, we're not in for swimming like the Egyptians and all that, but I think that I'm contented. 120 medals, it doesn't come cheap at all. My happiness at the end of this program yesterday is that Team Nigeria, ended in second place, as in after Egypt, it is us. Not just because we have more golds than other teams, but because we had more medals in total than other teams. That's, for me, I'm contented. It shows that in terms of gold, in terms of silver, in terms of bronze, we did so well, and I think that is a good one for us too. 120
medals coming the way of Team Nigeria at the 13 African Games that just got concluded. Let's look at where those medals were harvested from. First, to see or to have more medals at the games is wrestling. Wrestling pulled as many as 16 gold medals, but 10 silver and 6 bronze medals. A total of 32 medals of the 120 came from wrestling. No other sports did harvest more medals than wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling is a very strong advantage we have, and that's why the Egyptians are doing so well to get to the level, where they will compete with us strongly. But it's not been easy at all. Igali has done fantastic job. Almost all our wrestlers, from Blessing of Bro Dudu down to Oduna Odokoroye, down to Esther Ruben and all that, Kilowe, they have been fantastic, and that's, for me, looks like a place where we are always going to be top in Africa. And so we are always expectant of medals, but the way they did it was in fine fashion. I think we had almost won that particular one, like you said, and it's good enough for us. So that way, it shows that all the training tours, all the indoor championship that was hosted, has emanated to what we have seen, and it is glorious. And I think that that's the way to go. For me, it breeds fear now when you talk about wrestling, because you know that Nigeria stands tall in Africa, and no doubt about it. We displayed in an excellent form, and I'm not surprised at all. What things you do at home, just showed clearly that we have dominant activities in wrestling.
Wrestling, the #1 sport for Nigeria at the African Games, courtesy of the number of medals that was returned. 32 of the medals coming of the 120 coming from wrestling. Second place sports discipline that raked in medals for Nigeria is athletics. Athletics put up as many as 22 medals. And talking about athletics, this is one area where Nigeria should ordinarily, come first. But this time around, athletics came second with 22, 10 medals different between wrestling and athletics. But beyond the medals, let's look at individual athletes and their performances. Everybody knew before the games that Tobi Amusan was coming, and she had to prove herself as the world record holder in the hurdles, 100 meters hurdle event, and she didn't disappoint. In the last 3 consecutive African games, she's won gold. This time around in Ghana, she equally won gold in the 100 meters hurdles event. 12.89 meters she did there, just 0.1 second from the record mark we had a couple of years ago at the African Games. Yeah, and
I think that is sharing to get to see her continue, dominating. Another person would think that she should have, reduced that timing, but at that level, because just after that particular hurdle that day, she went into the relay race. Yes, so I think it's an intentional step. Maybe if not for that particular one, maybe we would have seen it's something different, maybe something close to what we used to see her. But I want to believe that what we saw that day is just a girl who is just enjoying herself, and I think that is good for her. No doubt as to what Tobi Amusan brings to the table each time she's called upon. And we saw a lady who is very relaxed, regardless of the challenges that bedeviled her last year. And I think that this is even going to be a stepping stone, for her for the Olympic Games that is coming.
Talking about spectacular athletes at the African Games for Nigeria, for Team Nigeria, we talked about Tobi Amusan, 12.12, of course, at the world record level, but she put up as at the games there in Africa at 12.89, just 0.1 second away from the African record. Well, we hope that she will improve on that going to the World Championship. Sebrume is the other Nigerian athlete that made a difference at the games. She defended a long jump gold medal. She won it now back to back, and I've seen that was not enough. She's now regarded as the best long jumper in the 59-year history of the African Games. Courtesy of a very spectacular performance there, I must tell you. We know that 6.92 was what she posted.
Has also shown that that she's the next thing, after Tobi Amusan, and the way she came into that particular one. In fact, she got that particular in her first jump, in her first of 3 jumps, and that was fantastic. We used to see her struggle, in the jumps, especially at the World Athletics as well as the Olympics the last time. But we saw a lady who at her first jump, it shows massive improvement. Even if I still feel that she needs to still do a lot of work in terms of the meter that is involved. But I mean, who cares at this point, because we've already gotten the gold. And I think that her compatriot was also in the mix, where especially the top run from Ruth to Soro, who also had a very good jump. She had posted the best this season, and one would have expected stiff competition from that lady. But then Sebrume came in and did so well. It tells that competition is different from indoor championship, and I'm happy that our ladies are, she's doing what she knows how to do best in the long jump. What we saw her did last year at the Commonwealth is almost what we've seen her replicate again at the All African Games.
In the 59-year history of the African Games, especially in the long jump, we've seen a record of 6.79 meters, but this time around, Sebrume cleared 6.92, which is a new African record in the African Games. Congratulations to Sebrume. And still looking at how spectacular some athletes were for Team Nigeria. One that I will not forget is Omolora Makenju, where we know of Tobi Amusan being spectacular in a 4x100 meters event for women. In the mixed relay 4x400 meters, we saw Omolora turn silver into gold, because in the last 30 meters of that 4x400 meters mixed relay event, we saw Nigeria in the silver in second place position. But she cleared 15 mark in the 30 meters mark that was left to emerge as a gold medalist, ensuring that Team Nigeria won that 4x400 meters mixed relay. I've never seen something like that in all of the history of the African Games. 30 marks to go, and an athlete that was in 15 meters behind cleared the 15 meters to come second. That is Omolora Makenju turning silver to gold for Nigeria at the 13 African Games.
I love the way the commentator, shouted, when that feat was done during that particular time when she achieved that particular one. I mean, nobody saw that coming. The speed was something, out of the blues. And I tell you for sure that when we get to see ladies like this, I ask myself, if only they can replicate it at the world level, it will be fantastic. And I think that we've also learned from it. I just hope that she will continue to be the anchor, the anchor lady when it comes to the 4x400. It's something that the Athletes Federation needs to work on, but we appreciate the effort that she did. And it's extraordinary getting to see such feats, occur in games like this. And a lot of people have been talking about her. In fact, she's the face of the 4x400 meter as long as this competition is concerned. And I think that her feet will continue to outlive her even for a very long time.
Omolara doing so well for Nigeria, turning silver into gold. And something interesting about her, Epo, this is a lady who took time off the relay event to give birth. She gave back to, on 2 occasions. She's had 2 children off when she was off, and she planned herself and returned back. And not just returning back in a very big way and a bang, winning gold at the African Games after having 2 children.
It doesn't come easy at all. It doesn't come easy. But I think that this is something that she has been practicing. And she needed to prove a lot of persons wrong. Don't forget that they had some camping. They also had preparation before now. So for the Athletes Federation to have chosen her, that means she has shown that she has what it takes to do that. And anytime she's called upon. But this is one of the biggest. I just hope that they will qualify, during the qualification for them to be at the Olympics. But I think that she's now a role model to a lot of person that believe that you can take a break from the sport, go back, have some family ties, come back and still do that thing that you're known for. This is very majestic. And like I said, we're going to talk about her for a very, very long time.
Still looking at athletes that were spectacular for Team Nigeria at the African Games. We know of Chukwuebuka Nikweche. He turned out to be gold medalist at the shot put event.
For Chukwuebuka Nikweche, I love the way he did this. I think that there were stiffer oppositions, no doubt, but he was very calm. He just continued doing what he knows how to do best, and no doubt. I mean, he did the grand side. He was even one of those who reignited our gold chase, our chase for gold, because when he got that particular one in his category, we just had to believe that okay, he has done it. That means we can still move on, and I think that that also really helped to believe that we can go for more. At that time, when he even achieved that, that was day 3 of the competition. We hadn't little, we had little or just 2 golds at that time. He made it the 4th gold, or the 2nd gold even. So I think that Nikweche has proven that he can do it. I just hope that he will continue, because in terms of Africa, he will always continue to dominate.
While looking at how Nigeria performed at the African Games, wrestling brought in most medals, 32, while we have athletics bringing in as many as 22. In the 3rd place position in terms of medal haul is boxing. Boxing brought in 13 medals for Team Nigeria at the African Games. Epo, something spectacular never happened in the history of the African Games. Team Nigerian boxers won 8 gold medals in one day at the Games.
This is the most talked about event, Mr. Siri. I mean, everywhere was bustling that night, when we got to see the report coming from Ghana. But a lot of person get to watch what is happening there, and for me, it's fine. So I think that our athletes have really done very well. The last time we checked this, we saw boxing achieving this. It's been a long time, but I think there's something, there's a new narrative in the Boxing Federation, and no doubt we're going to see what is happening. I'm happy, and I hope that these boxers will not just relax on their odds. We'll have to move on.
Arm wrestling was the 4th in terms of medal returns for Team Nigeria at the African Games. They had 13 as well. Arm wrestling, we are not so used to it here in Nigeria, but we are spectacular. At the end of the day, they came 4th in terms of medal returns for Nigeria.
It's fine. It's lovely. Yeah, like I said, we're not just used to it, but it's something that we have shown that we can get something from it now. I just hope that we'll even move on and maybe get to cultivate, get more champions, or get those who will teach them and bring out the best. Because if it's just arm wrestling, I still feel that we have to develop it and be intentional about its nurturing and processes.
Nigeria coming 2nd to Egypt. Egypt came 1st, courtesy of their many there's 101 gold medal there at the African Games. Nigeria 2nd on the medal table. South Africa came 3rd, and a lot of people are beginning to attribute Egypt's performances, especially in swimming, as one of the reasons why their medal hauls were high. They made as many as 13 gold medals alone from swimming, not counting numerous silver and bronze medal. Swimming used to be some at the stage in Nigeria, but it looks like we're not taking advantage of the number of medals in swimming. Over 120 medals in swimming alone, and that could be, let's say, a big pool to harvest gold or silver, not to talk about bronze medal. But Nigeria didn't have any, let's say, representation in swimming at the event.
You're right, and that's why in Olympics, I mean, we have a close to 30 sporting events, that were competed for at this year's All African Games.
Would they enter for only 25?
It's 25, and then you look at it and you ask yourself the remaining ones, and that's why it's always difficult, or it's easier for countries like China, USA to rack more medals, because when it comes to the gymnastic event, you see how many medals they rack, these countries, and you ask yourself, where are we? So in Africa, I think that we need to go back to the drawing board. We cannot be having rivers, flowing from one corners of the country to the other, and you cannot tell me that we cannot present, athletes or swimmers in the swimming event when you have a lot of medals to contend for. So I think that it's a learning process for us. We need to go back and look at where we have erred and see what we can do. But like you said, the Egyptians did so well, and that's where is the comparative advantage. They took it strongly and they held on to it. So I think that maybe we'll go back to the drawing board and see how we can do to, stop this subsequently.
Well, the African Games is come and gone, the 13th edition, and countries are beginning to take stock of what happened. Tomorrow on our program, Sports Talk, we'll take a more in-depth look at the medals table and where some of the highlights. But just before we will sign off on the African Games, something spectacular happened at the Games in the 4x100 meters event. While there was an event, a ceremony for medal winners at the javelin port, the 4x100 meters event wanted to, kick off, and it was, of course, the athletes were called to be on their marks and set to run. And at that point, at the nearby, award ceremony, the Nigerian national anthem was played, and one of the athletes for Nigeria that was already set for the 4x100 meters event, stood up and had to be part of the national anthem recognition and event, sang the national anthem till the end. And organizers of the event waited for him to finish with the national anthem before the event now eventually, kicked off. And a lot of people are thinking that this is a lesson for patriotism and, of course, loyalty to your country, which was exhibited at the highest level. He could have been disqualified, from not getting ready to go if they had set off on the race.
And I also want to attribute that memory or that history now that has been created, the understanding of the organizers. You see, it is a coincidence, but it turned out to become a history, and that's the beauty of it. We've seen some of these, some of this behind the scene, or some of this off. It looks like a distraction, but it becomes history. We've seen it at the Olympics several times, and this is just one of it. And it's a coincidence, but then I love the fact that they understood and they allowed, him to continue. It's loving. It's loving. I'm just hoping that it's something that it's beautiful. We talk about African patriotism, the nationalist movement, and you cannot at that point take things for granted. If they are fouled her or disqualified her, I mean, a lot of talks would have emanated. So, but organizers we are patient with her. They understood what he wanted to do, and then they went on to allow her to do that. For me, it's loving, and that's why we've been talking about her.
More to come around the African Games on our subsequent editions of our program. For now, we'll take a break. When we return from the break, we'll look at the World Marathon, where there has been history made. A British woman who has been able to finish Bagley marathons for the very first time. In the world of football, Brazil is beating England. Where? Wembley Stadium. When we return from the break, we'll let you in on all of this, especially the Nigerian Premier Football League that is into week 28.
from the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorables,
You
Greenwoods went for goal. Goalkeeper missed it.
fight him. He does a right hand and down goes Hooper straight away. Oh, what a point to end it on.
Welcome back. Sports Talk to our Sports Extraordinary Weekend Edition here on Atlantic Television Network. Weekend edition, of course. And we'll bring you up to speed with the latest happening. We told you how Nigeria came second at the African Games just concluded in Accra, Ghana. Egypt running away as winners with multiple medals. The first time in the history of the Games where 100 medals were won in the gold category, all going the way of Egypt that made 101 gold medal at the Games. But well, we'll continue to review that. But for now, let's look at some latest information coming to you from the other sports disciplines around the world. In marathon, a British runner has made history by becoming the very first woman to finish one of the world's hardest ultra marathons. That's Jasmine Paris from Middleton, completed the Barclay Marathons in Tennessee in the United States of America. We've never got to see someone to spare off 60-hour cutoff in this marathon race.
Just when this in that particular one, I mean, we've not seen that in a very long time. Getting to post there, look at the time margin. It does tell us how good she is, and I think that when we hear some of these things, it looks like I mean, it's out of this world, but it happens. It is a one-off thing, yes, but it happens, and you get to look at the people that have performed this, like Jasmine, Paris. It's lovely to see that she has broken a record and set a new history for herself.
New history for Jasmine there, and we just hope that this will continue because it's really, really spectacular. And let's continue to look at more. We've seen the Australian Open in Formula One, and a lot of people have thought about Max Verstappen. What do you think?
Max Verstappen has, ended his winning streak. He would have recorded his own record if he had achieved that 10-time win on a bounce. And but then we saw what Carlos Sainz, did. Coming back from that appendix surgery that he had 10 days ago, and then coming back to perform excellently today at the Australian Grand Prix. It's lovely, and for me, I think that Max Verstappen, no thanks to the retirement, but then it allows Carlos Sainz to take over. Don't forget that Barman, was given the all to replace him, and we saw him come out 7th in the last one at Saudi Arabia. But then Carlos Sainz just came out to show that okay, he's the next man to chase for the title. And clearly, if you don't have Max Verstappen, with what we have seen him perform today, in the Australian Grand Prix, it tells that this man has the potentials of even doing more for the Ferrari team.
Carlos Sainz, from the hospital bed to a major win. He had this is just 2 weeks after he had the appendectomy surgery. Yeah, and a lot of people were surprised. It means that he has that spirit of getting something this season. We saw how he also challenged. I mean, a couple of times he was the only one who was posting maximum point. At some point, he even performed excellently, more than Charles Leclerc, for the Ferrari constructors. And I think that what we're getting to see is a sound statement that, yes, I may have gone for 2 weeks, but I'm back, and my right place is where I want to take. And clearly, we saw that it's a 1-2 for Ferrari. Big weekend for them, I must say. Very big weekend for Ferrari, and maybe they're doing all of this, waiting the man himself from Mercedes. We haven't seen. Maybe, but I'm asking now with the prowess of Carlos Sainz, and who will go down the wire, who will lead the team. I don't know, but it leaves a lot of questions to be asked, knowing fully well that this man might come in, will come in, not might, will come in at the end of this season. Well, it will be Carlos Sainz, and Louis Hamilton. We're waiting to see who becomes the very first driver for Ferrari. But whether you're the first or the second driver, you can be sure the two of them are very experienced, and of course, just say drivers, they have a lot of imagination, especially when they enter into their car out there. Let's go to boxing, and in boxing, the fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury continues to get a lot of rave reviews. Is this fight going to see the light of the day?
It's not going to see the light of the day anytime soon this year. The reason is simple. Until we see the undisputed bout between Tyson Fury and Usyk, Alexander Usyk, and there's no idea that, I mean, we're going to see a fight from Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. And this is one bout that a lot of people really want to see. But the organizers have come out, Bob Arum has come out to say that that we're going to see a two-legged encounter, you know, or a rematch. Whoever wins between Tyson Fury and Usyk will have a rematch, and that will not justify who wins the undisputed champion and or who becomes the undisputed champion. Until only then can we now see a fight and next year. So can Anthony Joshua wait till then? Well, we'll keep our finger crossed. But if you're in the camp of Anthony Joshua, you think that the fight between any of the two will be the biggest fight ever, especially with Tyson Fury, because he is the only one that is yet to fight in the division.
Well, let's go to tennis, and I hope that the fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua will see the light of the day sometime, because a lot of followers of the game want to, you know, watch it. But we'll have to stay away from that for now, and we'll just hope that it will come to see the light of the day. In tennis, Andy Murray gained a measure of revenge against Thomas Martin Echeverry by beating the Argentine in the second round of the Miami Open. One of the Sunshine game is on, and Echeverry had been beaten by the Briton in the first round of the Australian Open earlier this year, and it looks now that the match which resumed after 3, it was suspended because of rain, has seen the Briton, so I say the Argentine, on the wrong side of the Briton.
And that's clearly not. I mean, it's good for him. Well, I mean, pouring out his revenge on Echeverry, because the Argentine won him some time ago, and clearly, you look at him, you think that he cannot go far. But he's been picking, I mean, a few wins this time, and this season is better off than last season. And that's for me. I just hope that his next opponent, he can fight harder to qualify to the next round.
Well, still looking at what has happened at the Miami Open ongoing in the United States of America. British #1, Cameron Norrie, who is seeded 30th at the games, is through to the third round after a 7-5, 6-7, 6-2 win over Italy's Flavio Cobolli. Norrie will now have to face defending champion Dani Medvedev. Will you think this is what he wished at the early as the fourth round?
No, I don't think so. I don't think Dani Medvedev is a very tricky player. It's difficult to really get him out, oust him out, or exit him from this tournament. Except something, I mean, something surprising happens, and maybe, you know, he lost the last time in the other Sunshine doubles. What was it called? At the Indian Wells. Is it Indian Wells? Yes.
Indian Wells.
Indian Wells. Yes. He lost in the finals to a certain Alcaraz, and he's still burning from that defeat. I hope that he will not put the anger on this man. But let's see. If anything can happen. If he's not on his best, then we'll get to see a tragic event.
A man from Canada, Dennis Shapovalov, and a 6-2, 6-4 win over Greece Stefanos Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas is blip in that one. He is one of the top players we expect to do well at this Open, but surprisingly losing to the Canadian Shapovalov.
Shapovalov is a player who has not been at his best in recent time, and so when you get to see that he defeated someone like Tsitsipas, Tsitsipas has also been very awful, if I must say, and I think that that's as a result of the fact that he has not been having good training time, or he's been distracted with some family ties, and I think that it's not healthy for him. Tsitsipas has gradually moved away from the top 10, and I think that if he does not hold strongly, because he needs to get at least to the quarterfinal stages or the semifinals for him to be sure of, you know, good rankings, and it doesn't tell well when you lose to players like Shapovalov, who ordinarily should beat and maybe hope that you get a better opponent in the next round. But unfortunately, this is the beauty of tennis. Sometimes shocks, they say, is the nature of tennis.
Are you shocked that Roberto Berna, the Spanish player, lost to Carlos Alcaraz, you know, at the third round?
And I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I can't be shocked. I mean, we're talking about somebody who's basking in the euphoria of getting the win in the last 2 weeks or
Indian
last
Wells.
week, Indian Wells, and this man looks like a man who will go all the way. He wants to even get the doubles, sunshine double, and it looks like he might do it again. Except we'll see a stiffer opposition, from some of the big names like you talk about the likes of Medvedev himself. Otherwise we're going to see a man who will go all the way to the finals, and I think that there is a possibility of achieving this.
A big possibility of achieving it, and time for us now to go to football. Well, we'll keep our eyes on the Miami Open that enters into the fourth round. In football, we'll start with the Nigerian Premier Football League here in Nigeria. We're into March the 28th, and it looks like the Sani Abacha Stadium was erupt with that win over Sporting Lagos.
Yeah, Sporting Lagos traveled away from home, so you expect that Kano Pillars will not take it likely with them. For them, they have enjoyed wins now, playing at their home ground. Sporting Lagos have also tried to see that they avoid relegation, and so they themselves are contending strongly. But I think that that was a very fierce encounter we saw at the Sani Abacha Stadium yesterday. But trust Kano Pillars, I mean, it takes nothing for them to get that vital win and ensure that they pick the 3 points.
At the Pantami Stadium, Doma United and Gombe United played a 1-1 draw. Both of them used the same stadium.
It is the same stadium, and but more like this is the kind of game you see that there is a tendency of match fixing, but it's beyond that clearly. We saw a very tough encounter. We saw the both sides, fought for the 3 points, and then they came strongly. Unfortunately, for Doma United, one would have expected them the way they are going, because the worst side right now to play. You want to enjoy playing against Gombe United, because our Gombe United will always prove their mettle against, because they derby, and they want to show that they are not going to take anything for chance. The state governor, I'm sure he's just watching that game to see if his prophecy will come to fulfillment. If they had lost that game yesterday, it would have been a very bad moment for them, because of what is happening. But I tell you, this is a turbulent time for Gombe United, but they were able to grab that point, and I hope that maybe they can move on from there.
Few minutes ago, Akwa United beat Plateau United by 2-1. This is a shocking result to be playing in Jos. Akwa traveled from Uyo to beat Plateau United. This is
biggest surprise of this weekend, March 27. And I attribute it to the fact that we're getting to see, that tail end of the season drama that plays out, that teams can go away from home and even mastermind points. And I think that this is going to be a very good one, because in recent time we have seen Akwa United getting points at home since they moved to the new stadium, or to the stadium that they know, and they've rejuvenated, and clearly they will really savor this victory away from home.
Rangers International was the away winners this weekend, because they beat Heartland FC by 2-1. A rental debut, you want to say?
Yeah, for Heartland, I think that it's another beautiful one for them. But then it's a
Rangers International.
Yeah, Rangers International getting that win away from home. Rangers with Fidelis Ilechukwu, it's expected. When I saw that game 2-0 at the 70th minute, I thought that maybe we're going to see a drama, but then it's fine. I knew for sure that it would be a win for Fidelis Ilechukwu and his lad, because they are really going in for the continent, and they have always said that their target is to pick a contender slot. And just maybe, in fact, this is not the first time they've gotten wins away from home. That is one of the teams who are known for picking points away from home. So they did it again on March 27. While
Rangers are looking for away points to ensure that they get to the continent next football season, Abia Warriors is trying to avoid relegation, and but they have to continue in that straight, because Katsina United beat them by 2-1 this weekend. Enyimba International, another poor traveler, you want to say, because they lost at the way. And surprise result, Kwara United beating them by 2-1.
Kwara United, and thanks to Bola's brace in that particular one in the 80th minutes and in the 49th minute, ensure that he did the magic. Although Copper was able to get the consolation goal, that was not enough, to salvage a point for Enyimba. But I think that Kwara United, maybe also the new chairman that they brought in, because at some point was suspended, they brought in, that man has rejuvenated the side and also steadied the ship in Kwara United. But I had expected Enyimba, to pick a vital point from that game.
Absence of their head coach, Finidi George, who is away with the Super Eagles in Marrakesh, Morocco, could be responsible for this one?
I don't think so, because sometimes they have delivered the goods even when he's not available or be with them. And I think that it does one of those games. Kola United were at their best. Like I said, the young man, Ogono, was at his best today, getting that breeze. One wouldn't have expected. In the first half, they've already scored 2 goals already. And the Imba were left with no choice but to come back to that encounter. It's quite pity, but I think that the Imba should do more better traveling away from home.
Imba should do more better without their head coach, Finidi George, who is with the Super Eagles in Marrakesh. Remember, a couple of days ago, they beat, just about 24 hours ago, they beat Ghana. And now, tomorrow, they have another crunch encounter against Mali in the second friendly, where the Super Eagles will be playing with Finidi George as head coach. A lot of people are saying he beat Ghana by that 2-1, and maybe could be enough if he wins Mali for him to get in the head coach job of the Super Eagles. I
don't think it will be enough, because there's a lot of politics underneath to become the head coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Getting 2 wins, will not guarantee him. It will take a whole lot, because yes, he's been part of the system for quite some time now. But the confidence of giving him that job is Herculean, and I think that it all depends on who those in the White House, fees, or the Glass House fees, that they can, dish out the mantle to be stayed. But until then, I just want to enjoy him, do his work as an interim coach with the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and I hope that he gets a win against Mali. If he wins against Mali, in a fantastic form, then we can start thinking in that direction. Maybe Nigerians, if they're happy with the way the guys play their game tomorrow, we can start advocating for him. Otherwise, I still feel that he comes even second fiddle, to the likes of Amunike, who, of course, a lot of people are going to have as the coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Super Eagles of Nigeria, without, do I say, a permanent coach for now, but the interim coach seems to be doing well. He's won the first of his game. The second one comes up tomorrow in Marrakesh, Morocco, between Nigeria and Mali. That's the Eagles of Mali. Well, let's stay off that now. Quickly look at some other results in football this weekend, and the most famous of it all has to do with the match that took place at the Wembley Stadium a couple of hours ago, involving the Brazilian national team and, of course, the English national team. Ekpo, Brazil scoring in the 80th minute, a goal scored by a 17-year-old player. The very first is for the English national team. Hendrik bagged his very first international goal in that fixture in the 80th minute, and it was good enough to beating the Lions of England at their own backyard, Wembley Stadium.
No one saw that coming, but the young man was in fantastic mood. I mean, he decided the pace of the game from the first half, and I think that his debut truly is ended, on a very cheery note, and that tells me that the Brazilians will always have this talent that are inherent in them. They're known as the Samba Boys. Clearly, they showed class, but it wasn't as easy as we saw on paper. The scoreline truly did not reflect what transpired, because the three Lions came out, to play. I saw Gareth Southgate, display some tactical stuff, on the bench, but that does not, that never helped, because the Brazilians, had their own. Don't forget, they have a new coach now who started his career to get in this particular one. This is a big win, because when you win the likes of England, who are in the top 5 rankings in the world, you just think that you've even won a trophy on its own. But I think that they will savor the moment, getting to see him also enjoy his debut.
Well, I think that's a big moment for the 17-year-old scoring on his first day with the national team. And, of course, beating a big country like England in the process. It's an international friendly weekend, and a lot of teams are involved in a lot of action across. Let's look at the African teams as well. There are some interesting results, but Ivory Coast just won the Nations Cup. They were forced to draw in their fixture.
Ivory Coast has not been a very good team. I mean, let's not overhype them. No doubt, take nothing for granted. They did so well. When you are an African champion, you look at, but you want to, it was glaring how they got to the finals. And, I mean, they took the magic of Morocco, to elevate them to come back to the competition. And that's where luck plays in. And they to also capitalize on, the fallout of some of the big countries, to be in the finals, and they won. So I think that, yes, while we appreciate their effort, and Emerson Faye, the coach of the side, that does not take the fact that they even had some challenges, while traveling to France to play the games that they played. The issue of bonus and the fact that Nasefaye has not been offered the full contract. These are internal issues that is still rocking the side.
The Republic of Benin struggled to play 2-2 draw with Republic of Benin.
Yeah, they struggled, and they've always struggled. I mean, look at the team. You can barely say that they were able to lay their hands on that trophy because the Nigerian side were not a good side on the day. And they also, the part 3 penalties that they had, you know, the lotteries of penalties ensured that they got to the final. So for me, I will not always tip them to be a very, very good team. But somehow, luck continues to shine. But look at it against Benin. You want to think that they should have won that encounter.
Talking about the international friendly at the weekend, France playing at home were beaten by Germany 2-0. France losing to Germany 2-0.
The German side are hosting the Euros, and they're really motivated. All the players, I mean, they even called a certain man from Real Madrid who is, I mean, they are gone blazing, and no player want to take it for granted. They've not been at the best side, you know. Since they won the World Cup a few years ago, they have not been as that team that they used to be known, and somehow they want to change the story. So I'm not surprised at all. The France side right now, bedeviled with injury concerns and worries, I still feel that they are second to Germany because the German side they want to prove something, you know, as the host of the Euros come this year. It
took penalties for Croatia to beat Tunisia by 5-4. It was goalless at 90 minutes plus at the time.
Tunisians are always very good on penalties. Very good when it comes to friendlies and playing top teams. I don't know how they do it, but when it comes to coming back to Africa, you know, to showcase strength, they are nowhere to be found, and that's why they continue to be ranked high because they can win big teams, you know, in friendlies. But when it comes to competition proper, the Tunisians, as they are known, the Carthage Eagles, they have not been flying high, and I think that it all boils down to the mentality and a couple of the kind of players that they have at the global level.
Slovakia played Austria, and Austria beat them at home by 2-0. But that's not the result. What is making rounds is that we saw a goal scored in the 6th second of that encounter, and that looks like now the fastest, if ratified, will be the fastest goal scored in an international men football event. The last one we know of Lucas Podolski's 7-second goal, but now that could be overtaken in the next couple of hours if ratified by that Austrian goal scored in the 6th second of the encounter.
Yeah, we hope to. I mean, because I've seen a goal scored. I've seen a goal. I don't know, but like you said, let's keep our finger crossed and see if it will be rectified. If it does, then it will be fine. I mean, he would have entered the history book for scoring that goal at that time.
Fastest goal scored ever in men's international friendly in the encounter between Austria and Slovakia. Austria getting that goal in the 6th second. Time for us to wrap up the show for this weekend, but we won't do that. Except we'll bring you our sports extraordinaire for this weekend. For me, it couldn't have been any other person than Omolora Makenju, who helped Nigeria to that 4x100 meters goal event. Coming off after giving birth to 2 children to winning goal at the African Games is quite spectacular.
It's quite spectacular, and she's now, she has done so well for herself. She's an icon, and a lot of people want to learn from her. That patriotism, that zeal to come back is something that a lot of athletes cannot do, but I'm getting to see her do that. I mean, she will be the talk for a very long time.
Omolora Makenju, definitely our sports extraordinaire for this weekend, coming back from giving birth on 2 occasions to winning gold medal for Nigeria at the African Games. And that will be it for this edition of Sports Extraordinary Weekend Edition. We'll return back next weekend with yet another exciting package. Until then, remember, peace and unity are clearly pathways to progress. Always enjoy here on Atlantic Television Network.
What a point to end it on.